and we'll talk about the comparative next, but let's go on to one that a lot of people think is a very, very significant album.
Made the 500. Yeah. If you've seen the 500 greatest Christian art albums, I mean, Google it, see if you can find it. It's on there. Yeah. This album is on there. But at
the same time, folks, even though as significant this is in Christian music, it's hard to find.
And you can find, well, you can find some of the music on YouTube doing live. Right. I mean, so if you want to sample this album, go to YouTube, just type in S-E-M, is it E-J? And type it in, and there is some YouTube, because I've looked at YouTube has some live footage of them at Greenbelt, which if you don't know what Greenbelt is like a huge, and it's not just a Christian Christian festival, but it's usually people that are getting together to share their music, and a lot of Christians do go there. You too. A lot of times you'll find Bono there. Bono
was there. The Alarm
was there. Yeah. Well, I mean, you find a lot of the maybe the '80s groups. I'm talking about in the secular industry.
The Proclaimers is another
Cliff Richard. You'll find him there.
The Proclaimers is another one.
Sir Cliff Richard. Yeah. The Proclaimers have been there. And if you know Steve Taylor's been there. So it's just a really big event. And Semaja was found playing this right after this album, so a lot of this...
I would call it the European cornerstone.
Yeah.
And it's actually larger, well, it was at the time that Semaja was playing, is larger than Cornerstone.
Oh, yeah.
Cornerstone's grown out. Now it's like, probably, I think there's 3 or 4 events before you get to the main one.
It's
there's like 5 concerts going on at Cornerstone. Okay, Semaja. Let's talk a little bit about this. If you like Styx and probably early '80s quote,
some people even compare them to Pink Floyd.
That to me is, I mean, Styx is probably one of the best examples I can give. But they do have their own thing versus Styx. I believe, and I could be wrong about this, that Semaja was probably a test for American audiences because of the success of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a band from the Scandinavian area as well, or the Nordic and Norwegian area. The point is,
well, they're a Swedish band.
They're a Swedish band, and they had a great success because Resband got to play in Greenbelt, met Jerusalem, told everybody about them. If you've never heard a Jerusalem album, buy one. And I'm not putting Semaja down but I believe that's what they were trying to do, was trying to say, if you like Jerusalem, give this group a try. And you can see a lot of comparison because it's more, because like progressive music was going out, so we had this kind of like pop progressive music, I guess you would call it. Well. Whereas Jerusalem did really well with Jerusalem is one of the few groups can take a 5 to 6 minute song and make you still listen to the song and like it.
Don't notice it's that long.
Was that 6 minutes long? I didn't know that. But they did really well. And this is on that basis. As far as musically, so I can't really complain about the music. I like Styx. I love Shaw. I love Shaw's stuff. Even his solo stuff. I was listening to stuff. The thing about Shaw, Shaw could be poppy.
Yeah, Tommy Shaw.
Yeah. But at the same time, he could really do something different. And his lyrics just get you going. If you're depressed, you put Tommy Shaw in, and the next day you're like, I feel good about life. Life is good.
Well, I mean, Tommy Shaw also played in the Yankees band.
That Ted Nugent was in.
Ted Nugent was in. Yeah. I don't know if I want to say that or not.
Yeah.
But it's the band that Ted Nugent, if you know the Motor City Madman, maybe that kind of gives him. I don't know if that makes Tommy Shaw a conservative by
They would be nice to know.
I mean, there's surprising. There's more out there than you think.
Yeah, it would be nice to know, Tommy. If you are conservative, let me know. Comment below because you'd like to know. Especially, I would love to cover your Remo Williams theme. It's one of my favorite. Okay, but basically, let's get back on topic of Semaja. Semaja is a German group. It's got a kind of, like I said, progressive pop feel, like the Sticks and that kind of thing. Because one thing, you'll hear a couple of tracks on this, and you'll hear that keyboard stylings that Sticks had on their stuff. Right. There is this neat little instrumental that really stuck out called Flip Flop. Flip Flop is just an instrumental, and this is very rare for Christian music of that day. This was 1984. Except for if you were Michael W. Smith, you kind of stayed away from that because he was a musician. He was an educated musician. He was already established musician, so they get away with that.
Hey, he played with Amy Grant for years.
One thing about a lot of people don't know about this, if you watch the live stuff, is they were really a good vocal group. They could harmonize really good, and one song that will stick out with the vocalize is No Burning Out.
No burning out, I have decided to follow Jesus all the way. A voice insisted, you still can do that, another time, another day. But I'm no fool, and I am ready to lose what I can't keep anywhere.
No Burning Out has this kind of blues snap thing, and they do this kind of really vocal thing going, but it's not the kind of vocals like we're used to in America. You know, we think of the Barber Shop or the Queen type thing. This has its own little analog type vocal, which is really neat instead of that same electronic harmonization that you hear today. So it's really neat. It's their only unique thing. So I give them that to have their own styling, because even though you'll listen to this, they're not saying, oh, we're going to be like Jerusalem, we're going to be like Res Band, or we're going to be like Sticks. They have their own thing. And I think that's what people like about them. It's kind of, to me, it reminds me like if you combine like a German love song mixed with Jerusalem. If you kind of combine, so, and they're very, I think they've been in the industry for a long time. You find a lot of their stuff out. But this, even though as important as this album is, it's hard to find. There's a song called Karin on this. Was really shocked me for '84. It's talking about
Karen's pregnant. She doesn't want to have the child, and Frank's a father.
Abortion. It's talking about lust of teenagers and that kind of thing, which was very controversial in '84, and it's a very important track on here. And then I think then I'll end out with Beyond the Curtain. So, Hey Friend just kind of jumps at you. Greenland's a really good example because it's always saying, oh, the
green above the sea, leaves flying through a peaceful breeze.
The life on the other side's better, you know, the grass on the green. So Greenland is talking about that kind of thing. He's Real is your basically gospel type song. So to me, lyrically, there's 2 or 3 songs that kind of stick out, but they're not like the most brilliant lyricist there is. I mean, like I said with Jerusalem gets stuck in your head, and there's a lot of lyrics that will grab you and make you emotional. For a group that's way like across the ocean, that's what is impressive about Jerusalem. To me, Semaja doesn't do that, but they've got their own thing. What do you? I mean, what's your thing that really sticks out with you?
Well, I mean, I was like you on that. The song Flip Flop is probably the one that stands out the most. To be honest with you, when I got these 2, this one went in the cassette player more. I really didn't listen to a whole lot of Semaja. I didn't really feel like that, you know. And I'm not saying they're a bad album. And
now he will start listening to it because his curiosity is kind of because people have started saying that this is a very important album.
Yeah, well, I mean that's what I'm saying. Yeah, as a matter of fact, when if like I said, if you can find that 500 greatest Christian albums,
Google it.
Yeah, Google it, because I highly recommend anybody that's interested in Christian music to look at that. You'll be shocked, not just surprised. You will be shocked to find out what's on there. You say, "Well, we'll probably have some." Yeah, there's U2 on there, but that's not the bottom line on that. But anyhow, this one's on there.
Yeah.
And this like I said, in this particular album, is like Sean said. There's also he was talking about Styx and some of the bands like that, maybe Boston, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you also hear, for a German band, kind of a Santana feel as well on some of the songs. Right. Some people said that it's kind of
that's the other thing.
Pink Floyd,
they don't just
Santana,
have a drummer on this; they have a percussionist.
Right.
So if and it's during the days when arpeggios were becoming big.
Yeah.
But their percussions keep you interested in the songs. That's the important thing. And that's one thing I'm trying to emulate, you know, on a project I'm working on. Percussions are very important. And they have a percussionist, not just a drummer on there. Right. So that's something that I wanted to point out too. Right, well, I completely forgot about that.
But, and see, and because of all that, see, that's the whole thing. When you go back, him and I were talking about this a lot, and another friend of mine, we talk a lot about how that some Christian artists, and especially some of their albums in particular, some of their stuff does, but some of the times it doesn't really hold up to the times that you're listening to.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that you're sitting here going, you know, that album was good when I was 12. You know, but now it just really hasn't held up. There's nothing really for me on that album that I haven't heard someplace else since then, or it just, you know, it just really, I guess there's just not a lot of what you would call meat on there. You know, when you're, the older you get as a Christian, you want stuff that's a little more timely to what's going on, or maybe there's something in there that really hits you. But I think this album, despite what me not listening to it a lot, I believe it'd be an album, though, that is very timely for listeners today, because especially with a lot of the interest in classic rock. This might say, well, you know, I like classic rock, but I also, you know, as a Christian, want something that would encourage me in my faith, and I think this would do it. Also mentioning what he was talking about, the controversialness. Christian contemporary music was not a medium that was afraid of controversy. As a matter of fact, if you would take any Christian music or any music that was made by Christians, Christian music probably tackled controversial issues before anybody else did. I remember years ago, I would believe it would be Phil Keaggy even talked about abortion long before Gold City. They had a song about abortion, and as a matter of fact, the first time I heard them perform it live, they were a little nervous about it. And like I said, at this time, we'd already tackled it. You know, Christians had already tackled it. I mean, Christian contemporary had already tackled it. But anyhow,
well, I mean, Christian rock was already controversial,
right? Well, so I mean, that's the whole thing. How much more can we make the audience nervous? You know, and it's like not really all about
what
that.
Was that Larry Norman said? It's like, yeah, you're too extreme for the church, and you're too mainstream for the secular world, basically. Right. In so many words, I think it was something else. It's this way it is. So we done with these talking about these two.
We're talking about those two.
Okay, what do we do compared to the